Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this teacher interface, basically cuemath teach your number. When the class is live, click on this icon if you want to return to the home dashboard when you are elsewhere. There are 5 more tabs available on the top panel: Live, Students, Classroom, Leads and Demos. We'll look into each of these in different videos. For now, let's focus on the Live tab.
When the class is going on, you'll find a timer running on top with the class time. The timer starts to count as soon as the class begins. And just before the 10 minutes of the class end time, the timer will start counting down. The panel here on the left is called the student panel. Here you will find a list of all the students in your class. You will find a name, grade and status of your students here. Green dot here indicates that the student is online, whereas the red dot indicates that the student is offline. That is, when the student has logged out of the class, or if the student is facing any network issues, or if the student has not joined the class yet, then you will see the red dot. Inside the student card, you can also see some icons like the idle timer, mistakes, doubt, intervention and resolve. Suppose you want to see how your students are doing. Do they need help or are they really solving all the problems on their own? Let's now understand how you can monitor your students' progress. During class, when the student is busy working on problems, you must continuously check their progress and intervene when it is required. To monitor a student's progress, click on student's name on the student panel, which is on the left side of your screen. For the selected student, all the information will appear on the right side of the panel. On the top, you will find the worksheet names that the student has accessed recently. The first sheet is the most recent sheet visited by the student. When you click on this sheet, the content will load below. The question number panel here shows you all the questions which are in the sheet. You will find some questions highlighted in red, green and grey. This will give you information regarding the status of attempts made by the student. Red attempted. Any more sub-questions left. For each question, you will also find the question feedback option. You can use this as more from question 1 to question 2, then you would not know that unless you click on the reload button. If there are multiple students made by students, if you have already solved. When you click on this reload button, it will give you an update about all the attempts made by students. If the student has more, the reload button. If there are multiple students in a class, then you have to toggle between each student to know the recent attempts made by each student. You might be wondering, how can I keep a track of my students' work? How will I know if they are sitting idle or they are doing some work? There are 4 notifications available on the student panel. The idle time notification, this will be enabled in blue when the student is not performing any activity. Mistakes notification, this will be highlighted when the student makes consecutive errors while solving problems. When the students click on the Ask Teacher button, the doubt notification will become highlighted. You'll also receive an automatic message in your chat box mentioning in which question the student exactly needs help. When you click on the question, you'll be able to know in which sub-question the student has the doubt. The intervention notification will be highlighted when the question which the student is attempting to answer is marked as students or notification right after one chat, group chat and broadcast call to be able to communicate with them to help. Notification right after you call the students and clarify their doubts. When your students are stuck while solving problems, then you might want to be able to communicate with them to help them. You may initiate conversations using audio, video, chat and broadcast calls. You already may be aware that students can only initiate chat conversations with the teacher or they can place a request for the teacher. You can call the student at any point of time during a class if the student is online. We highly recommend that you go with the audio video call option to give the best teaching experience. When you click on this AV call button, a call window will open up with the student's video feed. You may maximize the window by right-clicking on the window and choosing picture-in-picture mode. You may also place an audio call with your students. Even the AV calls will fall back to audio call if the network is poor at either ends. You may also video feed. You may maximize the window by right-clicking on the window and choosing picture-in-picture mode. You may also place an audio call with your students. Even the AV calls will fall back to communicate with students in the student card. Clicking on the chat button here calls like Zoom, chat or broadcast calls. To disable group chat, you may click on the Teacher Profile tab and click on Disable Group Chat. The group chat window also has the leaderboard. This shows all the students with all students and the end of the class scores. Broadcast calls are a way to communicate with all students at one go using a video call option. In this call, students cannot talk to each other or see each other, except they can view your video and audio feed and can respond back via group or one-on-one chat. It's recommended that you make broadcast calls in the beginning and the end of the class at least for a few minutes so you can connect with all students at once. Most of the time while explaining math problems, you might want your students to be able to see what you're writing. For that very purpose, we have the whiteboard, screen grab, and the screen share options. For every student, you will find a cueboard tab on your right. Inside here, the students can see. Screen share helps you to share your real-time. We have the whiteboard, screen grab, and the screen share options. For every student, you will find a cueboard tab on your right. Inside the cueboard tab, there are two more tabs, whiteboard and screen grab. Whiteboard is a shared board between the teacher and student interface. Whatever you write here, the students can see and vice versa. Screen grab is to get the real-time screen of the student. Whenever the student is stuck in accessing the interface, place a request for screen grab and help them out. Screen share helps you to share your screen with your students so you can teach effectively. The students will be able to see whatever for taking cuemath classes. When class is live, the students have to be monitored from the live classroom page. Keep a check of the phone notifications shown for each student. Reload the questions to get an update of the most recent attempts made by your student. Place an audio video call or chat to connect with the student. Be aware of all features like screen grab, screen share, broadcast calls, group chat, etc. designed to specifically help you out while you take classes. Call or chat to connect with the student. Be aware of all features like screen grab, screen share, broadcast calls, group chat, etc. designed to specifically help you out while you take classes.
Hi teachers, we are excited to release the most requested screen share and screen grab. We also have released the cueboard along with these two features. Let's quickly understand what are these features and how to use it. Let's start with cueboard. We have launched cueboard, which has a multiple functionalities. It is available on the right edge of the portal where the whiteboard was earlier available. The cueboard will have now two tabs. On teacher interface, it will be whiteboard and student's screen. On student interface, it will be a whiteboard and teacher's screen. Let us understand screen share feature. Screen share helps you to share your screen with the student so that you can teach effectively. The student will be able to see whatever you are sharing with him or her in real time. You can share presentations, problems, images, etc. which are opened in a different Chrome tab or a different application window. In a live classroom, you can see the screen share icon just below the profile tab right next to the audio call option. When you click on the screen share button, you'll be asked to give permission to share the right screen with the student. You may share the entire screen, an application window, or a Chrome tab. Do not share your entire screen as the student may find it confusing if you share the teacher interface tab as well with them. Share only required application window or the Chrome tab. Choose the right option and click on Share. When you share your screen, the student will be prompted to open cueboard. Side now has two tabs, whiteboard and teacher's screen. Students can see your shared screen on their cueboard in the tab adjacent to the whiteboard. If they accidentally close the cueboard, opening it will again resume your screen share. You can use Stop Sharing button to stop sharing your screen. Screen grab allows you to access the student's screen and see what exactly student is doing on his or her interface. Screen grab can be helpful in many ways. You can understand or check what student is doing on his or her interface and can get better understanding about the approach they are taking to solve a problem. Through this, you can also cue students to take different approaches. Many times students face some technical issues or they are not very well aware of new features or changes in the student interface. You can help students to debug the technical issues that the student is facing by looking at his or her interface. Let us understand how to screen grab. To grab a screen, you need to click on student's name and then click on cueboard. Note that cueboard will always be accessible for you after the student enters into the class. Once you open the cueboard, you can see the tab next to the whiteboard student screen. The clicking on Start Screen Grab sends a request to student to share their screen. Only when the student approves sharing, you will see their screen in this tab. On teacher interface, teacher can end screen by clicking End Screen Grab. Student can see the tab next to the whiteboard student to share their screen. Only when the student approves sharing, you will see their screen in this tab. On teacher grab immediately after the required action is taken. Ask the students to minimize or maximize the cueboard. Direct them to look at the right tabs on the cueboard whenever required. If you observe the student mostly spending time on other applications, help them to focus better.
Feature is meant for teachers to reach out to the team for any queries or feedback. To avail this feature, you'll have to fill in the details and submit the request. The ticket status can be checked by clicking on the Help Center. More details on the Raise a Ticket feature is available in a different video. There are certain important features here on the top right corner as well. Clicking on the teacher profile icon here will show a drop-down with different features. When the class is live, you can avail all the features that we can see here. Let's understand the functionalities of these features. End class option. End class will work only in the last 5 minutes of the class, that is the buffer time of the class. Usually, the class will end 5 minutes after the specified duration. The additional 5 minutes is given as a buffer for the teacher to end the class by closing conversations with the student. For example, if the class duration is 45 minutes, let's say from 3 p.m. to 3:45 p.m., the class will end at 3:50 p.m. automatically. But the teacher can use the last 5 minutes to manually end the class from her side, and this is known as the buffer time. The system health check for the teacher. Through this, you can see the reviews and suggestions shared by our team. The review feature will take you to the page where you can see the reviews and suggestions shared by our team on the classes taken by you. This is aimed to help you understand your scope of improvement for future classes. Broadcast call. You can start a broadcast call where all the students of your class can broadcast call. In order to talk to each student, the students will have to use the group chat option. To log out of the interface when needed by clicking on the logout option. So, except for a few, also choose the badge from the drop down here. You can see all the students that are enrolled in any of your class in the left panel. You can also choose the badge from the drop down here to see all the students to a particular batch. The live classroom option is not available when the class is not ongoing. This is also true for chat, call, share screen and keyboard options. These options do not appear as there is no class ongoing. These are a few things that you'll have to remember while starting a class. You have to log into the class on time. You'll have a start class pop-up appearing until 5 minutes after the class start time. The teacher gets a 10-minute window to start the class. If you fail to start the class, you will be marked absent and none of your students will be able to enter the class. Hope these videos helped you to understand the teacher interface better. Hello teachers, I'm Manjula from Teacher Education and the online version of the puzzle card feature of our curriculum. We have included creative reasoning puzzle cards for students. Now let's see how the students will access these puzzle cards. In their LEAP account, students will be able to find the puzzle cards tab inside the chapter along with the mastery tab. There will be 3 puzzle card sets in each chapter. Puzzle set 1, 2 and 3 with easy, medium and hard rigor level cards respectively. The one here is from set 1 and hence easy level puzzle card. In each chapter, by default, only the first card from all the 3 sets will be unlocked for the student. Students will have to click on the Unlocked Puzzle Card option to open the puzzle card. Remember, the student cannot mark the answer on the puzzle card. They can only discuss the solution with the teacher on call. You can use the whiteboard for the discussion. The next card will unlock only when you mark the puzzle card status from your end. We will discuss about this in a bit later. The student can access the puzzle card in class or at home. Students will earn rewards for a certain number of coins, that is 10, 50 students when they solve the problem with valid justification. Some coins would be deducted if there is no valid justification. If the student could not solve the card, there will be no coins awarded to the student. How can the teacher access these puzzle cards? Now let's see how this looks like from the teacher's perspective. To access the puzzle cards, click on Students tab. Now click on the student's name from the left panel and then select the Curriculum tab. Click on the chapter to find 2 options below the chapter name, Mastery and CR cards. Choose the CR cards option. Let's take an example to understand the process better. Let's say my student has this puzzle card unlocked for him. As you can see, this is the first card from the set 1, which is the easy set of cards. This was ideally unlocked in our last class and hence he got a day's time to think about the solution. Click on the puzzle card to view the puzzle. Now discuss the answer with the student. Arrive at the answer. It was correct but the approach was not or could not give a justification to the puzzle at all. And for your reference, we use interest and thus unlocking the details to the parent if needed. The parent can also view the puzzle card by logging into the LEAP platform. So go ahead and enjoy the fun of learning using puzzle cards on LEAP platform.
Hi teachers, it's by checking if we are ready for reset for your classes on the LEAP quizzes. You must be aware that when a class is scheduled on LEAP, the class must be started within a time, that is between 5 minutes before the class start time and 5 minutes after the class start time. Only after you start the class will the student also be able to enter the class. Before 5 minutes of the class start time, the Start Class pop-up shows up on the LEAP teacher interface after you log in. On the top of redesigned screen, there is a timer which shows the time left for the class to begin. If the class time has started, the timer will change to a message that reads you are late. Below the timer is your video feed. This video feed is available so that you can check your background, lighting, camera angle, attire, and the setup. Available due to some web camera or setting issues, the error messages and the solutions to fix list. There is also the check audio button to check for any button, and you may see that as you talk a while, pop-up explanation how to fix the same will be shown. Next to it, a if the graph does not show a lot of fluctuation. If microphone permissions are not granted, a pop-up explanation how to fix the same will be shown. Next to the check audio button is the Start Class button. This button will be available only till 5 minutes after the class start time. Clicking on the button will start the class. Remember, you can't start the class after 5 minutes of the class start time. This screen is introduced so that every teacher is aware of the setup standards. Please